Welcome.
I was just going to say, nobody watches this for the production value. That's just us.
They do. We are production people.
We're pros.
All right, welcome everyone to episode 57 of the Pickleball Effect podcast. I'm Braydon.
And I'm Kyle.
We got our weekly update today. Some fun stuff happening this week with Worlds and some other things. Today's your birthday.
Today is my birthday.
Well, we're celebrating your birthday today. We got Kyle's Corner. We're going to talk through, I feel like this is like the third time in a row we're talking about pricing stuff.
I know. It keeps changing.
It keeps changing. So we got more pricing info. We're talking about a little MLP. There's a big duper dump. Then we're going to go to Paddle, Babble, and Gear, where we got stuff about the 007, Neonic Flare, Vatic Pro Saga. When I first got it, I kept saying Sega. Is it Sega or Saga?
Saga.
It's Saga? Mm-hmm. I've been saying it wrong. And then there's just so many paddles coming out in November. Like it's just crazy. And so we're just going to touch on what's coming up there. So weekly update. Last week we recorded the podcast with the Olsons for the Pickleball Studio. So if you haven't seen that, you can go over to Pickleball Studio's channel and see us there. We didn't do a podcast last week. We kind of shared some of our ideas. We're just kind of combined show notes and did that one together. But back at it today, we like the look of the straight on that we did with them. So we're going to try that again here.
Let us know if you prefer this look to our knees touching look.
Yeah, we're going back to our OG kind of look here, back at the Flying Pickle, coming straight on. I don't like not facing you because I like talking to you. We'll keep messing with it. I have some other ideas we might tinker with, but we're trying this one out today.
Always improving,
or not improving. We're always tinkering. Maybe.
Exactly. We're going a direction, whether it's forward or backwards. It's up to you guys.
Yeah. But a couple weeks ago, Pickleball Studio was in town. That was so fun. That was your first time meeting them. What'd you think of Isaac and Chris?
Oh, I loved them. It was like, I was actually going to bring up, because like people talk about how some people see him a certain way on video, like it's a character, and then they're different in person. No, those guys are like exactly how they see him on the video. And I feel like we're kind of the same too.
I'm the opposite. I feel like I'm way cooler in person.
He's wrong.
No, I'm not. You know, but I remember when we all met each other for the first time in Vegas, they're like, Braydon, you're much more outgoing than we anticipated.
I could see that.
No, they're really cool. And like, it's obvious to see why they're so successful. Really sharp. Chris and Isaac are both superstars. And I'll be seeing them again at Worlds
in a
couple days. So I'm taking off Wednesday, going to Worlds. This is in Dallas. I wasn't sure I was going to go to this. Ended up deciding to sign up a little over a month ago, and it's just like been building up. More and more stuff's coming on. I didn't realize how like big of a tournament this was until like a couple weeks ago.
I didn't either. The concerts and the
concerts.
Yeah, now I'm like, maybe I should have went.
Yeah, like it's huge. There's a ton of people sign up, tons of different activities, and I like every brand's going to be there. A ton of influencers are going to be there, and so it'll be a fun, just kind of networking experience. And of course, I'm playing too, so I'm doing 5-0 singles the first day. Which is dumb. I don't know why I signed up for 5-0, but I did. And then playing Moneyball with Dalton Hess. He's out of Washington. I don't know if you know him. He's like a kind of. Think so. He's very active on Facebook and stuff. He's a 6-year ambassador. He's a pretty good player. Okay. I played him a couple times in some Seattle tournaments. But this will be our first time partnering up. He just messaged me. He heard that my original partner wasn't sure if he was going to make it or not, and anyways, ended up getting hooked up with Dalton. Excited to play with him, and then not playing mix. So I'm playing 2 events with Dalton. I'm doing Moneyball and then 5-0 men's with him. But the fun piece of this is
the 7th.
So Thursday evening, this PPA tour guy reaches out to Chris and I. He's like, "Hey, you guys open to playing on center court to kind of like open the like celebrity match night?" And we're like, "Yeah, we'll do that." And so we were originally going to be on center court, and we're going to be like the game kind of leading up to the celebrity games. And I don't know if you saw the celebrity announcement. There's some big names.
Yeah.
You have Dirk again, some football players, some golfers. And anyways, that's going to be a fun night. But they ended up moving us to Grandstand. So we'll be streamed on the PPA Tour YouTube channel.
Okay.
So it's going to be me and Brian from Building Pickleball against Chris and Isaac. And there's been some really fun back and forth leading up to this.
It's great when you see two guys that are like really good at video production talking trash through videos.
Yeah. So Brian If you guys don't know who Brian is, he manages or owns Building Pickleball. You can go watch some of his stuff. He's really good. And he was the instigator of this. Like, he's been talking smack so hard, particularly against Isaac.
Oh, it's so funny.
Or Alan, I mean.
Alan, little brother, whatever.
So it started in text. No one saw these conversations. When they like first told us we were going to do this match, we're like all in the thread together. And Brian's just going. Like, he's just going. And Isaac's fighting, and they're fighting. And, you know, all playful and fun and whatnot. But then Brian, and then they do like the announcement on the PPA Instagram page, and then Brian just keeps it going. He's just right off the bat. And then after like that announcement, Brian makes like a couple like videos.
Oh, they're so good. Like him getting interviewed.
Yeah, it's like him getting interviewed, and it was really funny. And then Chris responds and does a little bit in response to
that laugh was so good.
Yeah, they gave him like the evil laugh. Yeah, he should be like a voice actor.
Oh,
Chris could be a voice actor.
It was good. It was a good laugh.
Yeah, he did. They did a good job on that one. And as soon as Chris posted his video, Aaron texted me. He's like, "Bro, we gotta get in on this." And like Aaron, I don't know if you got this from when Aaron was here, but like he lives for the memes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's all about it. He loves the short form stuff. So we start texting, kind of thinking of ideas. And I was like, let's bring out the Ernie video. So we kind of came up with that shot that we posted on my Instagram. So if you want a funny video, go to my Instagram page and look at my little trash talk video we made in response to Chris's video. Anyways, a bunch of banter online. It's fun. There's a little grudge match. And now we got Q and Will commentating.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
So they'll be commentating the match on YouTube. It'll all be streamed live there. And like, I'm pretty nervous. Like, it's like a big stage, I feel like. I don't know. But once you start playing, you just forget. You just start playing. I'm hoping that's what happens.
As long as you body bag them at least once, it's all good. Whatever the results are.
One body bag, one Ernie, I'll be good.
You need like a bingo card.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Anyways, that'll be fun. And so, yeah, that's all happening next week. Thursday the 7th is when that's happening. I want to say 7 p.m. Central.
That's right.
So tune in. Come watch me and Brian take on Chris and Isaac again. I got some good practice against them last week. I think I got their number.
We'll see. I believe in you.
I've played with Brian before, which is helpful, but it's been a while. But I think we'll be able to just step on.
He just took third in an open.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's gonna be carrying you. His back's gonna hurt.
Probably. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Okay. Your other weekly updates. Do you know who Nick Wade is?
I don't.
Okay, so Nick Wade, he's been in a bunch of videos with Ed Jew.
Okay.
Bunch of like instructional videos. He's got long-haired Aussie assassin dude.
That's funny because I actually know an Australian assassin, but
wait, like
a real one.
Assassins are real?
Yeah, he's in prison right now.
Of course he would.
That's a funny story.
Anyways, if you've heard of Nick Wade, he's done a bunch of videos that have gotten a lot of action. He's a really good player. So his wife got a job here. He moved here from California. So we got another super high level player in the area, which is fun. I played with him for the first time last week. The dude just flat out rips it and just moves. Never seen anyone like move so well on the court. Like, he's just everywhere. There's no gaps.
Is he gonna be a flying pickle guy?
Yeah, I imagine.
Sweet.
I mean, that's where we played. But anyways, it's fun to see him. Or I'll maybe have him on the pod or something one of these days. He's cool. And then today's your birthday.
Today is my birthday.
Are we going to disclose the age?
I am 36.
36.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't feel so bad. I feel like 40 is like a big milestone.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever.
Did you think 30 was a milestone when you hit 30?
No, I was just sad.
You're like, it's happening. Yeah, 40 I feel like is more. Yeah, 36. You're still young. You're still kicking it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You still got at least 30 more years
I can
ahead
still beat my kids up. I mean, he's only 5, but.
Well, happy birthday, man. You guys got any fun plans today?
Nope. Podcast, editing the podcast. My wife made me breakfast, and then I'll probably just hang out.
Yeah, I'm not like crazy big on birthdays. Yeah. We celebrate the kids' birthdays like big, but like Malia and I's, we're just like, meh.
Yeah.
Are you guys the same way?
Sometimes we do like a weekend like in McCall, like at a cabin for Gabby's, but I don't know. I'm just like, just let me go play pickleball. I don't know. let me sit on the couch and play a video game.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Well, there you go. Well, happy birthday, man.
So.
All right, we'll jump over to Kyle's Corner.
Sweet. Kyle's Corner brought to you by Slice. weighted butt caps. They have some new ones coming out. He's actually making me a pretty cool one for the 007. So they have custom options. Basically anything you can dream of, you message him, he can make it happen. So he's in the process of making me like martini glasses for the bottom of my 007,
Nice.
which I thought that was kind of cool. But yep, check them out. Code Dink Smash will save you 10%.
I'm gonna do a little thing with them. So they their shop, we've been chatting. They're on Shopify, and then my shop's on Shopify, and you can do things where you basically like share products.
Yep.
So we're to do like a little PE design, and then we're gonna make that available on the Pickleball Effect shop. So that'll be cool.
That'll be rad.
Yeah, and then
use my code, but on the PE shop.
Yes, yeah, there you
so
go.
we both get paid.
There we go.
But first order of business, we talked about this months ago. The first place that had hardcore indoor pickleball options for Boise sold to Lifetime Fitness.
So it was Eagle Tennis Club.
Eagle Tennis Club has
gonna be
closed their
Lifetime
doors. It'll be Lifetime Fitness.
And I think we were talking about this. They're doing like half pickleball, half like basketball hardwood.
So the plan is it shows 8 dedicated pickleball courts, and then I think 6 tennis courts, 2 pools.
There's no pools before.
Oh, there's pools now. They released plans since we had talked about it previously.
Oh no, like Eagle Tennis Club didn't have pools.
Oh no. They're building like it's becoming a totally new facility.
I've never been in a Lifetime Fitness, and I feel like Lifetime is such like a big thing in pickleball because they have so many
huge.
indoor courts.
Yeah,
but I've never been in one.
I've only seen them on videos. They look nice, and I've talked to people that played them. They say they're nice. Some people do say like they just put the pickleball courts over hardwood, so they bounce kind of weird. I don't know if I doubt they're going to do that here because we already have hard court surfaces.
Yeah, the facility was built for tennis.
Exactly.
Courts, so I imagine they'll be good.
Exactly. So it's not being converted. I have heard their memberships are of the higher nature. Somebody I talked to in New York, I think they said they pay close to $300 a month.
Oh wow, that's like almost. I mean, what's Flying Pickle? It's
I think the cheapest. Well, isn't there like $109 option? There's 2 options. I think 109 is the cheaper.
Yeah, but it's like a yearly subscription model. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if that shakes things up at all. If it'll, because I feel like right now the Flying Pickle has the majority of memberships and players.
It's been like competitive, for sure.
Yeah. But I think more courts the better.
I agree.
It'll be fun to have a Lifetime here. We can at least say we have a Lifetime.
Yeah.
Since everyone else seems to be able to say that.
No, and then it's because Lifetime, they get PPA events. So are they going to get a PPA event here finally?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it is a different approach. There was like the Flying Pickle's like, it's just solely pickleball.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Lifetime is like, it's a gym. It's more than just that. And it'll probably attract a different crowd.
I think so. Especially where it's located.
Yeah.
So
it's too far for me. It's
way too far for me too.
It's a tough location, but it is nice. I mean, it's in a different spot of like the valley. And so
yeah, it'll attract different
people.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we've been talking about this several times, but I got more information about the UPA-A certification and money.
Okay. Give it to us.
Okay. So we were just talking about getting your paddles certified. So it was the $20K a year for your certification membership.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm forgetting the numbers now, but whatever, the 5,000
like 5,000 and then something for the similarities.
Okay.
But yeah, we figured it was around 25,000 for that initial push.
So that is just for certification of your paddles. There's a whole nother line to become a professional licensed paddle. So for your paddle to be used in a PPA MLP event at the pro level, including qualifiers, I clarified that with Jason, you have to have your paddle licensed. This is a $50,000 a year fee
on top of that certification.
Other stuff. And this is where it gets kind of murky, though. If you go in, I'll tell you what this $50,000 gets you first. So when you have this license, basically your paddle is able to be played with in the PBA MLP tours, including qualifiers. Your brand logo and marks will be included on the websites. And then basically you can use the MLP. So it's like a lot of advertising type stuff. It goes on further to talk about sponsorships. And if you pay for like sponsorships up to, I think like $100,000 worth of like paying for sponsorship type packages, they'll waive the $50,000 licensing fee. So like that, to me, that's where I'm like, what's going on here? Like, they're just like, are they just trying to get the money?
I mean, if you're spending that much money with them already.
But this is definitely going to shake up who plays for what paddles. Cause I don't think every brand's going to pay to be a pro licensed paddle.
Yeah. Yeah. This is definitely going to change the paddles we see in the pro scene 100%.
So,
especially like qualifiers, up and comers, you see a lot of really small brands. Like you have these players who are like, they try to find some sort of sponsorship, especially for paddle, because they're cooking through like 1 a month, right?
Exactly.
And they need a strong paddle sponsor, if nothing else. So you'll see like these kind of small random brands and qualifiers a lot. And you can't do that. They're not going to pay 50 grand. There's no way.
No, and then it's tough because I think sponsorship wise, as like an amateur up and comer to be a pro is going to be tough because you're going to have less brands. So they're going to be way pickier about who they sponsor.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. And I wonder if they'll come up with deals. I was originally thinking, okay, maybe I'm signed by this small brand that no one really knows about. But when I do the qualifier, I play with a paddle tech. But you don't want to train and play with different paddles.
No. And that's even Jason told me that there are people that have been playing basically through qualifiers with a mod TA currently and then having to switch to a 3S if they make the main draw because of the certification.
Thing. Yeah, that's crazy. And that's going to go in effect 2025.
Yeah, I think I put the date
like
down.
That happens next year.
Yes, January 1st to 2025.
So that's more immediate than the amateur play, because we talked about before how if you want your paddles used in amateur PPA events, you don't have to do anything until 2026.
Yeah, it's like you have a much longer grandfathering period.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I don't know. That snubs a lot of those smaller sponsorships. Who gets hurt? Do the brands really get hurt that much? The ones that had players in qualifiers, or is it the players that get hurt more because they don't have the sponsorships?
I think the players get hurt more because I do think it's going to be much harder to get a sponsor.
Yeah, because Paddletech or Yola, they're not going to sponsor every single potential up and comer.
No, I doubt. I mean, unless you have
Selkirk might. they have a lot of those guys. So maybe we'll just see more Selkirks.
Well, they're like Vatic. Does Vatic stay? Does Vatic pay? I mean, because they have Augie.
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, they have Augie, they have Spencer, but like Augie, I think is kind of they're more prominent. But yeah, there's a few that have just one player.
Yeah. And is that one player enough to warrant the
50,000?
It's a good question.
I mean, Vatic's not a small brand anymore. No. I'm sure they have that money.
Yeah. No. I think a lot of brands have the money. I'm just curious of what brands will see like the ROI in it. Like if it's actually worth it.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I feel like the Yola Selkirks, they do make money from this because it's so prevalent. But for these guys that only sponsor one, it's more of like a brand play. Like we're legit. We sponsor a pro uses it. It's more like to add confidence, to add like value to the brand more than just sales.
I see what you're saying.
And I mean, is that worth 50,000?
Could be.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't know, but it still is very steep. Like that's a lot of money. It
seems steep to us. I
don't know. I was actually looking at some numbers of like the average money startups make just in general per year. And I think it's 5 to 6% make $1 million in the year. Majority are making like 50 to 100,000.
Okay.
And if you're a new paddle brand, you're not gonna be able to pay that. Even the 20,000 paddle registration fee is so tough for a brand new paddle company. And you got to be certified.
Yeah.
But maybe you get away with just USAP for a minute until UPA-A is more prevalent. Because right now it's just PPA, right?
Well, and APP is expanding. So, I mean, they said they're going to double their events. So, I mean, I feel like...
they did?
Yeah. So,
that's a lot.
I know.
The pros are going to play in double or just more amateur events?
I think more amateur events. And again, they're making that big push internationally. And so I think
that makes a lot of sense to do more just amateur events, especially if they want to make UPA-A. Like that makes that certification more like needed if they have more amateur events.
So that was that for that. What did we have? MLP this week. The Challenger was super interesting. Did you watch any of it?
I just watched the Premier stuff.
So, the Challengers, they were playing for a spot in Premier.
Oh yeah. Okay. How does that work? I didn't read up on that.
Okay. So it was the quarterfinals. And if you won the quarterfinals, you are now in Premier.
So it was a huge deal.
Massive deal. So the bouncers, Susanna's team made it.
Yeah. I saw they won.
They went all the way to, they had to do best of 3. So they played twice in one day and then again the next day and they made it. And then I forgot which other team, but that's a huge deal.
No, it's a really big deal. So the bottom premier teams are going to get dropped. I mean, supposedly those are better players because of the draft.
I heard nobody gets dropped from Premier now, because originally that's what I thought too, was that the bottom of Premier got dropped. I was on Discord, and I forgot who told me. It might have been Eric from the Dink, but nobody from Premier gets dropped.
That makes no sense.
I know.
You can't just make Premier bigger every year.
I was kind of confused by it. And then now I'm like, what happens? Like, the bouncers go up. Do they just like drop people and then pick up Premier level people? Or do you keep the people that got you there?
Yeah, that's tough. You probably would make some trades.
Because in my head, when I originally thought you would drop the Premier teams to Challenger, I'm like, they'll probably just swap. Like
just trade players.
Exactly. Like, I could see that totally happening.
But I mean, like Susanna, I think could be a Premier level player. You have like
Yame's on the team. Yeah,
he's Premier. Like, you have Premier level players there. Maybe you make one or two swaps, but I don't think you change the whole team.
Yeah. Well, I think team chemistry is huge.
Oh yeah, big time.
Because we've seen 4 good players just not play good.
Yeah. Johns.
I wasn't going to say names. That's funny.
Yeah, that was but okay, this is just fun. So if you haven't been following MLP, like, let's just give you a quick update on what's happening right now. So the season ended. We're now at the year end, like playoffs. Yeah. Like, this is, if you haven't tuned in at all, like, this is the time to tune in. This is where it gets exciting, right? Like, the playoffs. I think the cool thing about the season format is this playoffs, because you don't get this with a regular tournament play. Mm-hmm. You don't get this hyped up year end event that you get in every other league sport.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. But so I think this is the cool part of MLP. So if you're going to tune in, now's the time to tune in. The quarterfinals already happened. It was this last week.
Mm-hmm.
The semifinals and finals happens, I wrote it down, November 22nd through the 24th. This is going to be in Orlando. And this will be yes, there's money on the line, but I think there's more than that this year, because this is the first playoff year. Teams are still trying to like get people to remember their team names. Mm-hmm. Like when I think NBA, you think Lakers. Like when you think NFL, like every league, like that has like their pillar like teams and brands.
Yeah, like you could ask somebody that doesn't even watch that sport and they'd still be able to name
the team.
A team.
And you don't have that in pickleball, like, at all.
No.
And like even you and me, like, I consume a lot of pickleball stuff. I can't even like name all the teams.
Sometimes I get like when it's like the pandas and like some of the brands I get.
Yeah, I can't remember them all. So I feel like there's a lot at stake just with like team and brand recognition here. And the teams that win and move forward are going to kind of cement themselves in people's minds more than these other brands and teams. So I feel like this year's playoffs is more about money. It's less about money. It is more about just building a name for yourself as a team, as a brand. And I think playoffs can do that for you better than just like a normal tournament can.
Yeah, I agree. No, and I like that you have less teams to try and keep track of during these events too.
It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah,
there's 4 teams now.
Yeah, there's not 8 courts going on. Like, I'm not trying to like figure out where to watch.
Yeah, that's a great point. It makes it really easy to follow. You know what they're playing for.
It's more consumable.
It's more consumable. Yeah. And so, okay, so we made it through the quarters. We had the Ranchers over DC. We're both Ranchers fans. You got QD, you got Alshon, and then is it Edda and Pisnik?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Is that right? So they won. I'm a fan of the Ranchers. I have some connections in like Austin.
I'm a big Flash guy.
You're a Flash guy, and they won. So the Flash was also in the quarterfinals against the New York Hustlers. The Flash beat the Hustlers.
6-0. They didn't drop any games.
Yeah, they did. They lost the very first match.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So the format is you're not just playing one game. It's best 2 out of 3 of like a set of like your normal 5 games, right? So you have like your men's, women's mixed matches is like one like set. So you basically have 3 sets.
Oh, so they won the next 2. So that's why it was 6-0.
Yeah. So the Hustlers actually won the very first match of like best, of 5 or whatever. They won in a Dream Breaker, and then DC came back and swept the next 2, 3-0, 3-0. Or not DC, Flash.
Flash, yeah.
So you have Flash and Ranchers advancing. They're going to play the Bouncers and the Fives. So the Fives play the Flash, Bouncers play
the
Ranchers.
Well, no, because the Bouncers are still challenging.
Or not Bouncers, the Atlanta. See, I don't remember all the team names. It's Atlanta something. It's Anna Bright's team.
Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her team name.
Is it Squeeze maybe?
Yeah, Orlando Squeeze. No,
I'm saying Atlanta.
Because Orlando Squeeze is Paris and
Dude,
hitting David.
Like this is part of the problem.
I know
we don't even know the teams.
There's so many teams.
Like I looked it up, and I don't even know the teams.
The squeeze is Fed, Tyson, David, and Paris.
What is Anna Bryce team? It's Tardio, it's Patrick Quinn,
Shock.
Fahey. Is it the Shock?
Yes, St. Louis Shock.
But like St. Louis.
I was like, I see the name in my head.
St. Louis Shock against the Flash.
This shows
not the Flash. I'm getting them all mixed up again.
We don't script this, so this is all off the dome at 8 a.m.
Anyways.
Yeah, the Shock.
That's happening. So tune in. We're talking now like, oh, there's less teams. We're still learning just like everyone else. But it takes years, I think, to kind of build that name recognition.
Absolutely.
And hopefully this will do it. All right. Last thing in Kyle's corner is there was a big DUPR dump.
Yeah. Yours go up?
Mine did go up a little bit.
Mine went up a little bit too.
Yeah. I went from like a 4.8 to 4.9, which I feel like is much more accurate. I'm definitely a 4.9.
I think I went from like a 4.28 to like a 4.35.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't think if the dump would have affected you negatively if they would drop it. Because last time they did a dump like that, they did the same thing. They only changed your DUPR if it positively affected you.
Oh, no one went down?
Nobody I talked to.
There's only people that went up.
I've only talked to people that went up.
So what they did, if you haven't been following the DUPR news, for a long time, pickleball brackets and DUPR weren't playing nice. If you played in tournaments that was in pickleball brackets that wasn't APP or PPA, most likely the games you played in those tournaments did not go into DUPR. And so they must have figured something out. So I probably had like 20, 30 matches put in there from the last like year and a half. Like it was a lot. And so they dumped in a ton of, but these were old matches. So it's kind of tricky. It's like, okay, where do these fit in? How do we rank these? Maybe that's why they didn't send anyone down, is because they were such old matches.
Well, exactly. They're so old. Like how much relevance do they still have?
Apparently 0.1 for us.
0.1, I'll take it.
Anyway, so they did that big dump, and then they changed the algorithm a little bit again, where I guess people who have like super active profiles or have a lot of games, I guess every time they're plugging in a game, it just wasn't changing their DUPR at all.
Nope.
And so they changed it where more recent matches matter more. And so you'll see more changes to your number as you input them and participate in tournaments. Anyways, so go check your DUPR. It may have changed. Kyle and I are now better players.
Definitely. DUPR's brutal though. Like I feel like we win and it goes up like 0.001, and then I like lose one and it's like down 0.1.
It is brutal. Like so the last local tournament, Riley, my brother, played with Duster, another player here. And so Riley, they played the 4.5. Riley has like a 4.8 DUPR. And
not anymore.
Duster has I think he was like a 4.3 or something.
Sounds right.
Right around that ballpark. But every time they won, my brother's DUPR would go up more than Duster's.
Yep.
So they're like, oh, they won. The better, higher DUPR player must have took over and won that match. And then every time they lost, Duster's would go down more than my brother's would. Like, oh, they lost. The lower DUPR. It must have been his fault that they lost.
That's
like
so funny.
The higher DUPR player is like protected. And the lower player, like it's shafted.
Is Riley's DUPR higher than yours now?
Yeah, he's got me. He's a 5.0 something.
Job, Riley.
Yeah, he deserves it. He's the man.
See, I should have played with him.
I have no shame in that. Yeah, you maybe would have medaled. They ended up taking a second. They played great. It was fun. Okay.
I think that's it.
That's it. Let's move on to paddle, babble, and gear.
Oh, so many paddles.
Dude, oh my gosh. November is insane. Okay. Let's start with 007. Pull out your package. Da-da-da. Do they think they did this because of the whole 007?
I don't know. It's a little unneeded. It is a nice case though.
I wonder if they're gonna get like if there's like some brand infringements here with the 007.
Possibly. The front desk also thought that I had brought a firearm to the facility.
This is, if you buy a 007 today, this is the case it comes in.
This is the paddle.
It's a really nice, like it's very sturdy. Like you could throw this around.
I'm going to repurpose this case for lenses for my camera because I'm definitely not going to carry a pickleball paddle in this case.
Oh, the case. Like, okay, you're going to repurpose the lenses, but like, what are you supposed to do with this thing?
I think the only thing you do with it, let's see if I can turn it around.
comes with like, their metal certification thing.
Well, it's carbon fiber now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it used to be metal. Now it's carbon fiber.
That makes sense. That's the more on Pickleball brand there. It was the case. I was not ready for the case. I did not know the case was coming.
Yeah, it was huge. I was like, what is this?
So I've had a couple for a minute now, and then they sent me one with the case and all the packaging, and you're like, whoa, like it's a nicer case than I got for my $1,000 Ben Johns one.
Ouch.
But I mean, it costs $333, right? It's their labs project. People give like the price beef and stuff, but I'm like, you willingly know what you're going into. It's this exclusive thing. Like, it's not their retail line. It's
no. And the presentation is nice. It's a pretty paddle.
Have you played it much?
I have.
Okay, give us your first impressions.
Oh man. So I got the 14 millimeter. Haven't tried the 10 millimeter yet.
Yeah, it comes in a 14, 10, and then they have their Invicta and Epic shapes. We both got the 14 Invicta.
Smart. I like it about 1,000% more than the Power Air.
That's a lot. That's a lot of percent higher.
Well, the Power Air is my least favorite paddle in pickleball.
Okay.
So I actually was pleasantly surprised with how it felt compared. I do feel like it was not as I feel like the Power Air feels like hitting with a 2x4, and I felt like this had more touch. But I wasn't overly impressed with it either. I'm not a huge edgeless fan. I think it looks really good. I didn't put it on the graffiti yet, but it feels pretty heavy.
It is on the heavier side.
Is it on the heavier side?
Okay. I want to say it's close to 120. I can't remember exactly.
Okay. So yeah, it felt a little heavy, which being edgeless, I wasn't expecting. Spin felt okay. I haven't seen the numbers yet.
So mine, this was an interesting thing we were talking about just before the show. I tested mine. It got over 2,000 RPMs, which is a good result for me. John Q got like 2,200. Chris got like 1,800. Pickleball Journey got like 1,800. So there seems to be some variability in the spin numbers depending on what you got. I don't know. So when Chris was here a couple weeks ago, mine did feel grittier than his.
Okay.
And I don't know if he got like an earlier version. I mean, that kind of seems in the middle.
Oh. Well, and the big push for this is the new Infinigrit, which is supposed to last 3 times longer than rock
That's
carbon.
the promise, right?
So I'm wondering, though, if there's some issues with however that's applied. If it's just not.
There's some inconsistency there.
Exactly. It's not repeatable.
Maybe. But if it is true that it lasts 3 times longer, that is a huge deal.
Huge selling point.
Huge selling point. Like Proton kind of made a living off that. And I don't know where Proton is right now. I heard rumors that they had changed their face a little bit.
I haven't seen.
I haven't seen any new ones.
Less people are playing with Series 1s, so I don't know if Nanotech's
like their pros and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a little confusing there. But this is kind of a similar deal where like, okay, longer grit, and people are attracted to that.
Yeah. No, that's a big selling point because, I mean, like a Lux, if I go grab a Lux right now, I can make it baby smooth in like less than a month if I play with it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It only takes a couple weeks if you're playing several times a week and hitting hard.
Yeah. So verdict's still out. I have to play with it some more. I'm gonna put a slice on it too and give it some more try. What'd you think?
Yeah, it's definitely felt like the same family as the Selkirk Power Airs. Like it still has a boardish like feel, but it's definitely more comfortable, more pleasant than the Power Airs.
Do you think that's from their new titanium mesh?
Maybe, could be. Whatever they did, it feels a little better.
I kind of want to cut it open.
Yeah, that was the other thing. So they have the Finigrit, and then they have like a mesh titanium plate that actually is titanium.
Yeah,
which is funny timing.
Did you see Grub was the one that asked if it was real on their Instagram?
I think a lot of people did.
Oh, and they were like, "It's real titanium." I'm like, okay.
And it does feel better. I do think you get a little more power from it. The Power Airs were it was like low power, high pop. I think these give you a little more power, probably similar pop. The 10 millimeter is significantly jumpier than the 14. I don't know if it's because it's a little bit lighter. The 14 is like the weight difference is pretty varied between the 10 and the 14. The 14 is heavier. And the sweet spots maybe a little better, but not like a huge improvement there. And I feel like that's kind of the part of the bane of the Air series is the sweet spots are smaller. You got to find the center to get that juice. And I don't feel like that was fixed with these, but it's definitely more offensive and potentially, the longer lasting spin, which could be big. But if you have $333, like I wouldn't be rushing to go buy one of these. What do you think?
I'd probably wait and see what the production model is and save your $300.
Yeah, like the power paddle category has changed a lot since the original Power Airs.
Mhm.
Like you have some really good power paddle options now. And you have power paddles that are forgiving. Like you have the 3S series, like the 14.3 paddle techs, aren't too bad. And I think there's better power paddles.
But I think if you love Power Airs, like in this type, like if you're a big Selkirk fan, absolutely. But I wouldn't switch from if you play with a paddle, like if you play with an edged paddle, I wouldn't switch to this.
Yeah. No, it's definitely need to find that sweet spot to get what the paddle offers.
Looks good though.
Yeah, it has like little gradients, pretty slick.
Yeah.
They've always been top notch there. But like that's been like they love doing the designs, and that's part of the reason I feel like they've stayed away from raw carbon fiber on some of their other premium paddles, just so they can do these designs. And so if they've really have found this 3 times Infinigrit and still can do their designs, and then they go put that in all their other paddles,
yeah,
I think that's what's cool. Like for me, what's exciting about the 007 is maybe not the 007 itself, but if this grit is real and they go put this on all their other paddles, it significantly upgrades their existing lineups with their Air series, the Lux. It makes those paddles way better.
And that's a good point. I know a lot of people that love the Lux. They just hate how fast they wear the grit off.
Yeah. And so what's exciting about this is the grit, and that's what we're going to go test. I had an extra one and gave to Joe. He's an instructor at the Flying Pickle, so he's going to put some hours on it, and we're going to retest the spin every month here.
See if it actually stays.
And just see how it sticks. And so that's the promise. That's what I want to learn. And if that is true, then I think the 007 is a success, and you break out that technology to the rest of their stuff. But the 007 itself as a paddle is just like, whatever. Okay. Let's talk about the Neonic Flare Prime X. Did you get one of these?
I did.
All right. That's this one here. So Neonic is making some noise this month. This is getting chatted about in a lot of different podcasts, forums. This is coming up. I just recently shot a video about like my favorite like standard and wide body shapes. So I think I had 7 total, and I included this in there. So I had a ton of the standard shape paddles. I was just comparing them all to each other, trying to get a feel of kind of how they all stack up. And I think stock, I haven't messed with weight yet. Stock, I think this paddle is like, it's an all court, but not like true middle all court, like a little toned down all court. I've seen some people say it the other way, but I'm like, no, man, when I go and compare this with other wide bodies, like I did like the all court from 11.624, the Monarch, I was comparing it to like the EX 6.0 and some other stuff that are in that all court range. And this wasn't giving me as much power and pop as those. It probably gave me a little more pop than the all court, but not as much power. So out of the box, I don't think this is like a super juicy one, but it is a really solid 14 millimeter that kind of breaks you out of the control category, gives you a little bit more, but it's forgiving for a 14. The feel is there. They did like some targeted weight on the side, which I think was smart. We're starting to see more and more of that. And then they're doing this carbon fiberglass mix that's getting more and more popular.
Absolutely. Everybody's putting fiberglass in right now.
Yeah. Fiberglass is hot. And so anyways, I think this is solid, and it's lighter. I think it's a 108 swing weight, I want to say, or 107 maybe. And so it's definitely lighter. And for how light it is, it does give you a little more like juice than you'd expect. And so it's kind of that nice combination of an all court paddle packaged into like a super light paddle. I mean, standards are going to be lighter anyways. They're usually around 110, 112, but for those, this is even lighter, but it still has a little bit of punch to it. And so I think it's solid. What were your thoughts on it?
I was actually surprised. It felt very light. I do want to put some weight on it. I thought it actually had a decent amount of power for how light it was. My timing was a little off just because I'm used to 120 plus swing weights right now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I've been swinging some heavy paddles. But no, I thought I liked the titanium one more, but then when I actually played like 6 or 7 games with this last week. And I was like, you know what? I actually think this one is probably better than the titanium one all around.
I connected with it pretty quick.
Yeah, no, it felt like I didn't feel like like it would take me long to switch to this paddle.
Yeah.
Other than my timing just being a little off, mainly because it's so light at the net that I'm just in front of everything. But no, I think it's a great option. I know they're always I can't remember what he said this is going to cost, but I know they're always pretty affordable.
Yeah, right around 140, I think.
Yeah. So
Maybe
always,
150.
always a solid buy.
Yeah, they always do good. I was listening to the John Q podcast. They were talking about it, and they had mentioned how Neonic, when they were like pitching this to everybody, they're like, "Oh, this is like a toned down ESQ 12.7," and I agree with their statement where John was like, "I think they are doing themselves a disservice and trying to compare it to the Paddle Tech because it's not.
Yeah.
Like it has its own attributes. It plays a little bit differently, and it's its own thing. And if you're going into it thinking it's going to be a Paddle Tech, it's not.
No, I would say doesn't have the Paddle Tech. I actually, you'll probably disagree with this, but I actually like the way that feels more than the Paddle Tech. But I think the Paddle Tech definitely has more power and more pop.
Oh no, this definitely has a more like pleasant, comfortable feel to it.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you'd agree with me, but yeah, it's like I feel like that felt better as far as like impact feeling the ball than the Paddle Tech.
It's not as like plush as say like the Pickle Hurricane 14.
Oh no, not that.
It's
not
kind
that
of
soft.
it's kind of in between that and like something that's firmer.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely crispier than like the Hurricane's soft. I like the Hurricane too though.
Yeah.
But
anyways, I think that's a good paddle. That comes out November 5th. Or I guess is that when we launch this? Maybe the day after.
That'd be tomorrow.
But I do think that's relevant. I am doing a video on kind of how it compares to some other standard shapes in the future. I'm excited about the video. I haven't really done many like roundup style videos. It's always been like one paddle. And so this will be a little bit different.
No, when we did the roundup podcast, that was a popular podcast. People like that. People like to see a lot of paddles
just compared to each other. And like I kept it pretty light as far as like the information I was giving. I was just kind of like, this is how they stack up. There's a little bit about the feel of each one. I don't know. We'll see what people think, but yeah, it's like I'm just kind of cooking through them. I did like 7 paddles in like 10 minutes, so each one gets like a minute.
Okay.
And anyways, if that one does well, it might do more like that. But I do think that's a solid paddle. Their other one, their Flow. Did you get one of those?
I didn't get a Flow. I've actually never hit a Flow, other than I think you let me hit one when we did some kind of test on a Friday.
Yeah. So Neonic has another one that's a hybrid shape. This is their Flow Prime X. It's got they're doing the CFC thing. It's kind of similar to the 11624 Hirachi X Control Plus. Similar vein as that one. But that shape, that hybrid shape, for whatever reason, isn't quite as forgiving as like the typical kind of flared hybrid like head shape that we see. And when I compare their Flow models, like next to whether it's the Double Black Diamond or the Vatic Pro, it's just not quite as stable for whatever reason. It's just like it's a little more rounded. And like it's still a good paddle, but it's funny that shape doesn't hit the mark as well as some of these other ones. But that's another good one around. Like 140 price.
I'll have to try the Flow.
Okay, I think there's some interest around these guys. Have you hit these yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I actually just talked to Vatic very recently. I'll be getting one.
These okay, let's talk about these. The Saga, not Sega.
Saga.
The Saga. So these come out November 15th. And these are my thoughts on it. Like they have a very unique profile that I haven't seen in another paddle before, where the power is pretty high, like just under the Paddle Techs.
Oh, wow.
But the pop is like pretty low. Like it was 30 percentile on my testing. And then when I went and did like side-by-side testing with like the Neonic, their old Flash, their old orange models, and I did like the course shapeshifter, the pop is like less than a lot of those. It's this really weird combination of super like pretty good, bigger power and like lower pop. And so it's like, it's weird. Like when you lay into one, like you're seeing the power, but it feels and behaves like a control paddle otherwise.
Interesting.
And I've never seen like such a dramatic difference in power and pop in a paddle before. And it could be a good or a bad thing depending on what you're looking for. Like if you want like a control style paddle that you can really lay into and finish points with, like this is the one. So the way they're making it is we had talked about last week on Chris's podcast how we're starting to see like more brands do like a paddle tech style build where it's Gen 1-ish style build. So the paddle isn't thermoformed, but it does have the foam injection around the perimeter. This is like a key difference between these and the paddle techs. These and the paddle techs both have like wider honeycomb cells.
Just 10 mil?
Yep, 10 mil. And then they both have like a fiberglass carbon fiber layup. Now, like their layups are probably different from paddle techs. That it's their own thing,
Mhm.
but it's like a similar combination of like fiberglass, carbon fiber, wider cell, and that's what I got from it. Is like this weird, huge power or bigger power and like low pop, and it's got kind of like a muted feel to it. Like it doesn't like when you hit a paddle tech like explodes. When you hit like the 10 millimeter of like 007 and you hit it right, like it explodes off the paddle.
Yeah.
This isn't exploding. Like it's kind of like muted, and you don't feel like you're hitting it as hard as you are because it's kind of like a thud,
But the ball's coming.
but the ball goes.
Okay.
So it's pretty interesting. So they're launching it in their V7 and their flash shape. The flash is their hybrid. The V7 is elongated, and then they're going to do 2 handle lengths for each one. They have the long handle, which is like, I want to say 5.6 or 5.5.
Okay.
And then 5.3 for their short handle.
So would you recommend that more for singles play? Like, what would you use it for? Would you play doubles with it, with being low pop and high power?
Yeah, it kind of makes it so a lot of people are attracted to the core shapeshifter. The reason I compared those side by side when I was testing them is because the shapeshifter has like a similar profile where it's like decent, pretty good power, lower pop, and a lot of people got behind it and liked that combination. And I was like, to me, this almost feels like a core shapeshifter, but boosted a little bit on the power side.
Got it.
So I was like, there's a lot of people that like that combination in doubles where you have the ability to reset the ball, you have the stability there. Feels comfortable, like it feels like a control paddle until you swing. Big.
Got it. You still let it rip, but then play the chess game at the net.
Yeah. So for me personally, I like more pop.
Okay.
So like I'm not going to switch to this for doubles, but I do think there's a large crowd of people out there that like that paddle profile, and this is like kind of amped up a little bit of that high power, low pop scenario.
Speaking of switching paddles, I don't know if I told you I switched mains. I retired the Shogun.
You did.
I did.
I thought that was never going to happen.
I know. I've been playing with the Shogun since June.
Have you told Doug?
No. So he better hope the Invader takes the spot. We'll see.
What are you playing?
The Hirachi, the Alpha 1.
Oh, really?
I played one game with it, and I was like, whoa. And then I was like, that was a fluke. And then I played again. I'm like, no, this paddle's awesome.
What does it do differently than the Shogun that you like?
I think it definitely has more power than the Shogun, but then it feels just as soft. Like when I was like in the slow game, it was great. It's just, I felt like I had more power, but
So
I feel
kind of like a similar profile to this.
exactly.
Almost.
So I feel like I didn't lose what I liked about the Shogun, but I got more
Just
power.
a little more power.
Yeah. So I was like, it's perfect. And the shape, I actually never swung that shape, and it just worked.
The 6-inch handle with the,
So I'm a believer.
All right.
Everybody in their Discord's like, damn it, now I'm not going to be able to get one because Dink Smash likes them and everybody's going to buy them.
That was like a limited run from 11.624.
I didn't even know it was limited, and I feel bad that I posted about it.
I've hit that one against my wall. I haven't played any games yet, but now I want to go play games.
You should. I was surprised.
Okay. But it sounds like it's a similar profile as the Vatic Pro.
It sounds like that they would probably. Now I need to hit the Saga, not the Sega. The Saga.
The Saga.
Sega's Sonic.
So that one's coming out November 15th. I'm going to do a review on that one, and so be on the lookout for those. And they're going to be $140, $150 again. I can't remember the exact price.
A lot of good price paddles.
Yeah, like I wanted Vatic Pro to get a winner because it was a real bummer with their Oni and stuff. And it's like, oh man, that sucks for any company to have to deal with that. Yeah. But I'm glad they found another good one. That it's going to be it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see what people think. But like the weirdest thing with that paddle is it's just like the thud muted feel, and you don't feel like you're hitting it that hard, but it goes, and it's kind of wonky that way. And like if I wasn't doing like the side by side testing, and I wasn't doing like the spin number or the like power numbers with my gun, someone might walk away thinking, "Oh, I wasn't hitting that very hard," which is weird.
Just by like the sound.
Yeah, just like the sound and the feel. Because I was playing with my brother, we were testing it, and he was like, "Oh man, this feel like it's hitting hard." I'm like, "Go hit these side by side." He's like, "Oh, you're right. The ball is moving."
What were your serve numbers? Do you remember?
They were. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was just under the PaddleTech 14.3.
Okay. Yeah, so they're good.
Okay, and then let's just finish off here with like what's coming in November, because
so many battles.
It is an insane. Okay, we have the Chorus is coming out with a new series called Fire.
Yep, in 3 different shapes.
3 different shapes, November 30th. Then they also are introducing those same 3 shapes to their shapeshifter line on mid-December.
Yeah, my Fire's in the mail. Did you get yours yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
I probably won't be here when it comes in, so you'll get first hits with that.
Haha.
Although Matt is going to be in Dallas,
Oh, so you might hit it before
so
me.
I might hit, well, at least around the same time.
We'll see.
And so, yeah, so he's introducing 3 new shapes. He's also updating the shapeshifters a little bit.
Okay.
So he changed the formula a little bit on the layup, hoping to give it just a little bit more power and kind of similar control. And so they're doing a little bit of change there, which I think is cool. No one really makes iterative changes too often to their existing paddles. I always just come out with new ones. And like, if you have something that works, don't reinvent the wheel. Just tweak it. So
when they do that, do they have to get that reapproved?
I would think so.
I don't know.
I mean, it plays differently. So
okay.
But yeah, is it a new paddle or is it a similarity? I don't know. And then we have a couple other paddles that already came out. So we had the 007 come out earlier this month. We had the Volaires
controls. Yep.
Controls. Did you ever hit those?
I did. I like them.
You did like them?
I never played really with so I didn't have like a comparison to the Mach 2 Forza because I never played with those. Like I bought the PE one, but it's in my box. It's in a box that I'm just gonna keep forever. And sell it for $1 million at some point.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
But so I didn't really have that to compare to. But I liked it. I enjoy that shape. It's a forgiving shape. I felt like the spin was good. I don't know if Kevlar is gonna continue to be a trend, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, the paddles play well, but so did their original line, and it plays very similar to their original line. It was a bit of a confusing launch.
Yeah, and that's what all the reviews I saw said it's very similar. So that's like I can't compare it that way because I didn't play with the other ones. So I just liked them.
My impression was it feels a little bit stiffer, like a little more, a little different feel to it, not quite as plush, and like maybe a little more pop. That might just be like me thinking because it feels stiffer that it's jumping off more, but like
you're also just stronger.
Numbers and stuff are all like pretty similar, and so
it's
almost just like a different. It's almost just like a different look, and it was just like confusing. It's like Kevlar I feel like it's kind of going out the window 100%. Or not, like it's on its way out a little bit.
Or it seems it's definitely not as popular.
Yeah, it's not as popular as it was when it first came around. It's like, oh man, feels like an interesting time to come out with the Kevlar.
Titanium mesh is going to be the next thing.
Titanium mesh. Then we have Engage, their Enthusiast line was released.
Is that the one that's like clear looking?
Yeah, they have like some clear ones. These are like $120 to $180. There's one. I just got those. So I haven't hit them yet, but there is one that actually looks interesting. It's $180. It's called their Pursuit V2. I don't know why they would call that because it's like a different line from their Pursuit Pros. Just using the word Pursuit kind of like, I don't know, just jumbles everything together.
Gets confused.
But it's from what I understand, it has the same core as like the Pursuit Pros, but it's in like a hybrid shape. Okay. It's a 15 millimeter core. And looking at the specs, I'm like, oh, that could actually be pretty good. Like if it plays similar to the Pursuit Pros, but in that hybrid shape, a little thinner core, could be interesting. So I do want to put some time with that one. But the other ones that they release, I seem just kind of so-so. Gearbox is coming out with their wide body version of the Ultimate at the end of the month.
Did you get one?
Yep.
Are you allowed to talk about it?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But I mean, you can imagine what it is. They were smart to do that. I think they listened to feedback from people.
They were probably, all of us complaining about how heavy they were.
And I think that paddle in that shape could be dope.
Sweet.
So that's another interesting one. Bread and Butter.
Invader. That purple looks so good.
November 26th, they start doing some teasers. And then I said, the Neonic Flows.
Maverick's got a new paddle coming too.
Oh, do they? I haven't seen that one. What's that one?
It's getting delivered today. It's called the Pro X.
Okay. Is it supposed to be a hotter version?
It's a hotter version. I think it's got some fiberglass in it.
Yeah, that fiberglass is getting popular. We're going to see more of the paddle tech. We talked about this last week, but yeah, that seems to be a trend right now.
Yes.
But there is some stuff on the horizon that I think is going to shake things up again.
That we're not allowed to talk about.
Innovation is not slowing down anytime soon.
No. There's going to be a new generation of paddles coming.
Yes, there will be a new generation. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us.
All right, thanks, guys.
See ya.